To answer the question, what's next for Syria after the fall of Bashar al-Assad, let's look at two of the most important people in the country right now. Abu Mohammad al-Jolani, the leader of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham organization, or HTS, and Mohammad al-Bashir, Syria's new interim prime minister. Here are some key things to know about them both. As Syrian opposition forces led a lightning offensive that swept through Syria's major cities and ultimately led to the fall of the Assad family's rule, Abu Mohammad al-Jolani appeared a few times as the leader of this operation to free Syria of Assad rule. What people saw was a calm and calculated man. His words were precise and avoided giving too much away. On the day that rebel forces seized Damascus, Jolani, whose real name is Ahmad al-Shara, emerged in the Umayyad mosque and told the crowd, "Syria is cleansed now." The days that followed showed his popularity among many Syrian people, whilst others have approached him with curiosity and a degree of caution. Jolani, who's now 42, was born in 1982 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to a middle-class Syrian family who were displaced from the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, which is where he gets his nickname, Jolani. He says he was drawn to politics and the Islamic struggle of jihad when he witnessed the Second Palestinian Intifada against Israel's occupation. Following 9/11 and just prior to the US's invasion of Iraq in 2003, Jolani was drawn to insurgents resisting US occupation in Iraq. He joined the fighters and in time would join al-Qaeda in Iraq. He spent the following year rising through the ranks of the insurgency before being captured and thrown into the US's notorious Camp Bucca prison in Iraq in 2004. When he was released in 2011, just as the Syrian uprising was beginning, many in Iraq were happy to see him go, as a rift erupted between him and the al-Qaeda leadership in Iraq. Jolani wanted to distance himself from al-Qaeda's transnational jihadi ideology, and instead grow his rebel faction to focus more on a nationalist struggle for Syria. This came in the form of Jabhat al-Nusra, or the Nusra Front. Initially, Nusra coordinated with the Iraqi group that would later become the Islamic State, or IS. However, in 2013, they pledged their allegiance to al-Qaeda, and Nusra and IS became enemies and rivals. Over time, the al-Qaeda label began to hang heavy on Nusra, and in 2016, Nusra officially broke links with al-Qaeda and rebranded itself as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the Committee for the Liberation of the Levant. Jolani says he has renounced his past as a hardline jihadi extremist, and now embraces pluralism and tolerance, pledging protection for minorities and to respect Syria's diversity. HTS is not trying to form a caliphate like IS or al-Qaeda, Ayman Jawad at-Tamimi, an expert on hardline groups in Syria, told Middle East Eye. Jolani has been designated as a terrorist by the US since 2013. The Trump administration placed a $10 million bounty on his head in 2018. HTS is also listed as a terrorist organization by the US and UK, but in both countries there have been discussions to reconsider that label. On to Mohammad al-Bashir. The decision to appoint Bashir as the interim prime minister came after discussions between HTS leader Jolani and outgoing Syrian officials about forming a transitional government. The General Command has tasked us with running the transitional government until the 1st of March, Bashir said 3 days after rebels toppled Bashar al-Assad. He was previously the head of the Syrian Salvation Government in Idlib, a conservative administration controlled by the HTS. Bashir, an engineer by training, was born in Idlib in the mid-1980s. He has a diverse academic background including degrees in electrical engineering, project management and Islamic law. Before joining the opposition, he worked in the Syrian gas company, eventually leaving in 2021 to join the revolution in Idlib. He served as the Minister of Development and Humanitarian Affairs in the Salvation Government from 2022 to 2023 and was elected Prime Minister in January 2024. Bashir is focused on modernizing the government using technology, improving the economy and addressing the humanitarian needs of displaced people. Their governance in Idlib has occasionally drawn criticism. While ruling over the small rebel enclave in a wartime period, they often crack down on free speech and dissent. Any new government in Syria will have to undo decades of the Assad family's corrupt and brutal hold on the country.